Today we have the battle of the Capellan partisans against the neutral planet, and today for the Capellans we have the team ELH with some supporters, Gnome King, Star Wraith, and I think it was Marlin, and they are already ready to go, so I think we are close to the start. On the other side is the mixed team on the defenders. Ah, I see they had a disconnect on their side. Ah, okay, it was probably Marlin and maybe Duelist will replace him. Okay, let's see what they have. We see, oh, this is a Kura Echo, ATMs and medium beams. This looks like a Shadowcat F with, I think it's 3 LBX5 and 2 medium beams. A Black Lanner. I'm not sure at the moment for this variant, but small beam or pulse. Okay, what do we have else here? We see, oh, this is probably an ATM Ryo. So with 2 ATM 9s and 2 medium beams and 3 short beams, no 4. Okay, a Warhammer. I'm not sure about this variant. Okay, oh, here we see an Scat Prime. Klangaus 2 medium beams. Oh, a Scat Charlie. Klangaus in a ERPPC. Gnome King has an Bushwhacker Echo, an ERPPC and Gauss, and I think it has an SRM6 launcher additional. Mr. Grey has also an Bushwhacker. Oh, at the moment I'm not sure with the variant. Okay. So and then they have here an additional Scat F, 2 medium beams and oh wait, and what do we have here? Probably an LRM Owens, I'm not sure.
Serpentis.
Hello there.
Hey guys.
Oh, hello. What's the lowdown? What's going on?
So yeah, they're preparing now for the next drop on
Preparing stream.
yeah, I'm already in my stream, so yeah.
This is SJ Duelist bringing you the Chaos March. We have Dolvorich in Cougar E, Malos in Ryakan C, Sudibor in a Warhammer D, Wraith in a Shadowcat C, Vivisector in a Shadowcat Prime, Mr. Grey in a Bushwhacker Prime, Japal in Owens Prime, Shadowcat F for Marlin, Omni in a Black Lanner E, Gnome King in a Bushwhacker E, and opposing them in a list put together by Burner mostly, Bob in a Solitaire A, excuse me, this is not correct, Yeti in a Solitaire A, Viper in a Ryakan D, Deathwalkers in a Hollander E, Ivan in Thor Prime, Shooter in an Uller D, Chezra in a Partisan Prime, Silver in a Osiris E, Pabst in a Bushwhacker E, Yeti in an Oro E, and leading them, Bob in the Morrigoose C. Burner, what were your ideas when you put this list together on Death Valley?
The main idea was to have something with long range, direct fire, So you have there some missile support with the LRMs, but basically you need direct fire punch. But that's probably the same what you can say for the ELH team. They have a lot of Gauss weapons, but to be honest, I'm now really surprised they were splitting up their teams. I see 5 were moving right and the other remaining 5 were moving left. So that's
Marius,
not often to see on the matches
Marius,
again.
what kind of strategy would you usually use on TC Death Valley with these kind of direct fire long range lists? Well, Burner, I see that we have the defense team moving out together. It looks like that they are heading to the southern portion of the map, I believe. How do they have the defenses? How have the attackers split their forces? Is there any logic? Do they have fast assets together with slow assets, or by tonnage, perhaps?
Probably not the reason because almost everything is pretty fast on the attacker team. The slowest asset is their Warhammer, so most of them were mediums, and in this case, yeah, they were pretty much all fast movers. Only the Warhammer is a bit behind then. But yeah, I have no idea why they did this. So it could be a good idea, but if they facing if a single group facing the whole team, it will be pretty hard. Say they have really to do a pincer maneuver.
They may be doing it to, well, first of all, increase their coverage and maybe provide crossfire, and second of all, increase their scouting potential. They have pilots at every edge of the map right now. It'll make it pretty easy for them to see wherever the enemy advances, considering how open this map is.
Serpentis, are you a proponent of taking air power on this map strictly for scouting purposes?
Always, and not only for scouting purposes. Air power is one of the, well, Death Valley is one of the best maps to take air power in. Huge, it doesn't offer a lot of cover for ground fire to hide from air, and even just for scouting purposes, it's really easy to spot things from the air.
Marius, do you feel that a team of 3 or 4 battle armors working in unison for a team could be an advantage on Death Valley?
Marius is AFK right now.
Okay. So, Burner, I'm noticing that the defenders are looking to find a spot and hunker down. Are you surprised that they're trying to stay in one position?
Oh wait, they were
Actually, watch. They're about to approach each other. They must have spotted each other by now, unless they're all running passive and nobody's seen each other. They're really close to each other.
The defenders have 3 GECM assets. And the way they're moving, is it a hold? It's a hold.
Yeah.
We have a hold at 64:45.
Okay, this is the time for the advertisements.
So about 4.5 minutes in, and the two teams just right there. How do you guys approach handling a hold? How do you keep your team focused? Do you try to
Get
do
people to
anything?
look around. We go over the battle plan and contingencies.
During the hold, you're not allowed to move your asset at all, but do you have your team members utilize their zoom and their torso twist to try and find the enemy if you are this close like they are?
Essentially, yeah. We know not to move, but we just look around on our torso. Let me just see where everyone is. So,
Do you guys feel that either team has an advantage with the positioning that they're both in right now?
Oh, the Ivan and Bob's team has a big advantage. They have all their team in one spot right now, and the team where Melos, Mr. Gray, and all them are, they are all long-ranged assets. If they manage to get over this mountain just to get the drop on them, they will put a serious hurt on them. However, with the way the teams are split up, the rest of the ELH team is over there on these mountains, and I think, let me check. Yeah, they are long ranged as well. So if they go around the mountain to the side of this little factory in the middle, that may even things out a little because they're gonna eat ghost rifles, LRMs,
Oh, Invictus
everything
has to
else.
go. Someone has to take Invictus.
Okay, do you want me to take Invictus'
Invictus,
place?
Invictus was not in the field.
Oh, I
He
see.
ran out of time, so we're okay.
Roger that.
Well,
Yeah,
all
you.
things considered, as you said, we're all in one spot. I think the best thing that a Blues could do, that Innisphere could do, charge over the hill in a pincer, Silver, Yeti, Ivan going over the hill, the rest of them going around, pushing them back away from their comrades, which they may have spotted already, and back to the wind farms up in the distance. Killing probably at least 2, if not all 4 of them, leaving the rest of their teammates ineffective. So what they want, once they realize the danger from that mountain, what they should really do is just chase them down that road and behind the mountain.
Who was the disconnect?
Marlon. Yeah.
Okay, then.
Here, they're gonna handle this. And anyway, as soon as that player's back in, action is gonna start.
Oh yes, they'll probably engage to stop a hold from encountering again.
Yeah.
No one likes a hold.
No.
I see it. No.
Yeah, Marlin is connecting now. If everything goes right, he'll just take a Sparrowhawk and
Land
there
in the
and-
scat.
yeah, our little advertisement break is done in a minute.
See, the thing is that may have saved his life. Mr. Grey is now moving.
Well, yeah. Where is he going?
He's going to look after the scat, tell him to move back and just BA over. The
right.
mech should not be moved. Because now if he turns around, he's going to get details on everyone's business.
Yeah.
That might turn the battle around. Because now everyone's just they're going to be able to bring down their long-range assets on that mountain immediately.
I am pretty sure they already know yeah, they must already know of the presence of Bob's team. Are they the attacking team?
Bob's team is the Innisphere.
Yeah, ELH is the attacking team.
Right.
So the
No,
thing
they
is,
must.
none of these guys are looking in the right direction, except from G. Paul, who was looking into the side of Vivisector.
You should watch Sudibor. He's directly facing the defending team right now. I'm pretty sure he already saw them. He's in an asset that has enhanced optics, so...
Quite possibly. It cannot be confirmed. Point is, I think they're gonna do a big old fight here, and I hope that Bob's team, honestly, takes the advantage and takes out at least 3 of them. Funny thing is, with Marlon's disconnect being where he is, that might save him from all this.
Yeah.
Great. Mr. Gray's moving back to his former position, so in
Milos
this
is
case...
moving as well.
His disconnect may actually not be the best thing to have happened to that team, because Marlin will be out of the fight if the fight starts now. That leaves them with -1 asset.
but he has a quick asset. I think it's probably he's probably soon together with his teammates.
See, the thing is, I reckon Marlin may be able to kite. Oh, they're going.
Okay.
I reckon
Hold this
Marlin
over.
might be able to kite them into.
And here the first contact started. They're going at it now.
They have lost their chance to push over the hill and kill Mr. Grey and that team.
Now
They are
the machine guns
settling
are
for
away.
long
We're
range.
seeing long-range fire. We have Deathwalkers and Bob taking the brunt of it. Nothing that's going to do too much damage right now, but they really cannot lose that Morogu. They're shooting down all the LRMs. We have the PPCs moving out. Marius, would you be having the defenders keep this position or move?
The defenders, they needed to press their assault. These are long-range assets they're fighting. They have lost the chance to push over the hill and engage due to
Yeah.
being suppressed by rack fire, rack and MG. Now, ELH have free reign over the map because they have a vantage point to lay down suppressive
They're
fire while the
splitting-
rest of them get into points.
They're splitting Yeti off to try and scout a bit to make sure they don't get flanked, and now the defenders are splitting up a little bit. The LH team the attackers continue to have their teams split off, and there will be no granted hold since we've had first contact.
I reckon Yeti is a bad move. I mean, the best that he could do is scout a position they already know. Ivan is doing the good job of actually looking over to the left and trying to locate the other force, the smaller force, which is now firing their missiles.
Oh, they're actually going over the mountain now.
Yeah, they needed to do it all together and not at all. They need to move. Ivan needs to start pushing up. Viper needs to start pushing up. Drew, this entire rear guard is useless there.
Those lambs working overtime, Marius.
They are, but they won't stop all of them, and that's still damage dealt.
They
So-
are.
The biggest problem is if you have
They have a
lambs,
kill.
you have to be on a lower ground, because then the lambs
That's
work
not
much
down.
better.
Omni is down. The advantage is certainly going to the defenders at this moment as they continue to fly LRMs and direct fire away.
They need to get that rear guard into position now.
Defenders moving a bit closer now with Phylexes and Bob. Bob taking a lot of damage now.
That's a bad move. They had a strong position. We're doing plenty of damage with the Lamb's defense. They should have let the ELH move in while they were still ineffective and could still hit half their team with their entire team. Now it's more of an even brawl. Their teams are scattered around. Yeti's still not doing much. Deathwalkers is just sniping. Silver's just sitting back. It's
Bob
messy.
trying to take cover, get some shots off. He's in a dangerous position. Ches are now moving in to back him up. The attackers team is now largely moved back together with the exception of 2 assets. They are down in 2 assets. One due to DC that will be eligible to come back if their asset doesn't get destroyed, and one due to a death. The 2 teams positioning now is interesting. Mr. Gray for the attackers,
Milos
one of
went
the
down. That's
Milos
the Ryo
down. The attackers have one of the best drop commanders in the business, and Mr. Gray. And I was just up on the channel that you heard, and he's working overtime to get them to focus. Right now, it's a bit of a language barrier up there, as they have Marlin and I believe Star Wraith that obviously don't speak the native Russian tongue, and so it can always be difficult sometimes when you have to speak multiple languages during a drop.
Well, Star Wraith should be kind of used to that, with working with the Italians and a large number of drops. I'm sure he will do well, just...
The
fighting
attackers
off as
now
he does.
moving toward the back side of the base, trying to get into cover and perhaps push up. They've now formed back all together. The defenders continue to hold position in the position either north or south, up in the hills. Burner, are you surprised at the way this engagement has gone so far?
Yeah, of course. I was surprised that they were splitting their forces, and that was probably the biggest problem. So they couldn't focus on the defenders well enough together. So, and yeah, that was probably their biggest mistake, what they did on this fight.
The
Yeah.
the Ashcombe Defense Forces are now moving up a bit. Bob and Ivan, 2 of their best players, are moving off to the right. They're having the tanks move a little bit south, and looks like they're moving now a little bit, Marius.
So the thing is here, what I would do if I was ELH would be move back onto the hill, secure it, let the tanks cross the open field to take out Bob and all his land support, and bring down whatever missiles you have left onto the main body of the force, including Ivan, who's charging across now.
Serpentis, in a situation like this, would you be targeting the weaker mech assets in terms of tonnage, or would you be going after the best players?
That's really hard to say. Depends a lot on the positioning.
So as
It's a very complex thing to explain.
As we see right now, Ivan's moving around quite a bit and moving to defense. Bob is moving around to defense, and right now the defenders are shooting just about anything they can, not necessarily focusing on any one target. All but now Bob and Star Wraith are firing at each other. So, Burner, in this case, would you have your either team have an advantage if they move in to close the distance, or do you believe this is still a long range battle?
Oh, they're trying to keep it on long range, I guess. Um, I mean, if the defender side decided to close in, they have the advantage of armor. Um, Definitely, because most of the attacker team, most of the attacker max were medium max, and in this
Bob's
case,
down. Laura go down.
all right.
Bob and
Deathwalker
Deathwalker's
down.
both down. Arguably, the two teams now a little bit more even. That's a huge loss, everybody, for the losing Bob on that tank.
They need to push. See, the big thing here is they are now trading very well, as ELH are known to do, from a strong vantage. What they should do is they should push in, kill out Dodorovich,
Shoot her
move
dead.
in close.
And now I see the attackers really focusing fire here, Serpentis, and that can be a deadly thing if you're being focused and you don't focus back.
Oh yeah, definitely. So a lot of the times the group who just focuses fire wins the engagement. Of course, it's also what you mentioned before. It's about prioritizing your targets well. Sometimes you go for the best player. Sometimes, if it's just a average player but in a vicious asset, you want to destroy the asset first. But the number one important thing is always to focus one target.
Phylixies, Vic Viper, and Silvercraft have moved off to flank a little bit off to the right. They've split their forces. Marius, is this the right move?
I can't even see their forces right now. That's really quite far off. If they don't do something about this now, they've lost Yeti, Drew.
Yeti is now
See,
dead.
they're just going down. It's just a matter of time before they get whittled down. And that flanking does nothing. They need
Ivan
to have
now-
moved in yesterday.
Ivan now moving back. Chezer and Drew sticking together. They're now trying to reinforce their right side flank and then perhaps charge. But Marius, you mentioned that you saw an opportunity after the hold for the defenders to go in and perhaps have a high chance of winning this. You feel like that lost opportunity is what ultimately cost them the match here?
I don't think so. I mean, at the end of the day, as soon as the hold cancelled, they both opened fire. Both teams have engaged, and ELH moved back their long-range group that were in the open. The ELH surprised me by moving into a very close position for what they had, and they lost some units because of it. But ELH have turned it around by fortifying their main position, which is what they should have done in the first place instead of losing out so much.
Burner, is there a skill imbalance between the two teams? Would that have contributed to any outcomes here?
Phew. Yeah, probably. It's hard to tell, but yeah, probably yes.
Definitely in terms of drop commanding, they have Star Child as well as I think the ELH, which is generally very good in tactics, versus if you look at the defending team, they have a lot of individually good players, but they don't have a single experienced drop commander on their team. And even though the language barrier is a thing on the ELH team, I think not having a full-time drop commander probably was very hurtful to the defending team.
Now, I have no idea how much damage the defending team has taken here, but I just realized that it's only a 6-5 advantage right now for the attackers on the defenders. So, as Marius mentioned, if they've been trading well, perhaps this battle can still be anybody's fight. But Burner, in order for either team to succeed, what's the key for ELH
Flaxus
attackers?
is down.
And Burner, if you were the attacking force now, what would your strategy be to finish off the attack?
Keep it like before, just trying to attack them from long range with direct fire. They're doing well with this. And yeah, I mean, just push. Not go too close, but trying to push. The biggest problem is also, I mean, one of their very strong assets, the Oro Echo. There's a person, he's not that, I don't know him well, but I mean, he has not that experience probably, or not the practice currently. So at the engagement started, he should have been close to the Morigu at the beginning, because they have both a lot of ERPPC and could provide a lot of firepower, and they have the same range. And at the beginning of the match, it was a bit behind, and that was probably also a small mistake. I don't want to blame him for this, but this is probably one mistake I saw in the beginning of the engagement also.
Now, Serpentis, we still the defenders still have Ivan and I believe Vic Viper and Silvercraft, all veterans, and they still seem to have a decent amount of weight here. But looking at the attackers' forces, is this all but over because the attackers have the Bushwhackers and the Shadowcats?
Well, as you say, it's maneuvering. If they move their Bushwhackers and Shadowcats well, considering they're all long-range assets and the other team has tanks, they can kite them all day long, which, knowing Starchild and his drop commanding, they're probably gonna do. If they keep kiting the defending forces, they will most likely have a big advantage through that. If they don't kite and the tanks catch up, they may be able to pull it around.
And as the ELH team now moves as a wolf pack, sensing their 2-to-1 advantage in player numbers, now move in to hunt down the match. Everybody, we're going to have a tie 1-to-1 battle, and coming up to map 3, how do you motivate your team if you've taken the loss, and how do you keep your team focused if you've just taken the victory to try and get that map 3 victory?
Crit amongst the LH.
Yep, that G-Paul, that's going to heavily damage Vivisector, but that also might damage Drew. Vivisector and Gnome King are both doubled up on Drew right now, and an explosion like that, Marius, is...
That's it. Vivisector's down. That might turn it.
You take down Vivisector. You're correct in that I assume this match was all but over, but still, Drew going to take a lot of damage here, and that tank cannot outturn those remaining Shadowcats and Bushies.
He doesn't have to. He just needs to hold them while Ivan and Silvercraft lay down the fire. Drew is the bait, keeping them exposed. They want to kill Drew.
Star Wraith and Mr. Gray, two extremely veteran players, and sometimes Serpentis, when you have a big battle like this, it's hard to keep the comms clear, and even harder as a drop commander to think about what everybody needs to do. When you start getting down to 2 or 3 pilots left, is it ever easier to coordinate?
Sorry, what was the last part? Repeat?
When you get down to 2 or 3 players instead of 10 in your channel talking and having to coordinate, is it ever easier to do more advanced maneuvers when you have fewer people in your channel?
No.
It really depends on the general chat morale of the people. Com morale is the number one. If you have fewer people, well, it's generally a bit easier, especially if if the team you play with is pretty chatty. However, I'd say as long as you have a sufficient comms morale, you could say it doesn't make that much of a difference.
Vic Viper still alive, veteran player. Ivan still alive, veteran player. Silvercraft, veteran. Tank, Drew, a veteran. But you're still facing a very experienced ELH team. The attackers have worked with Star Wraith a number of times over the years. So this could ultimately come down to how well the teams are able to communicate and work with each other in this.
What is Vic?
Vic appears to be near one of the bases. Ivan and Vic's backs are both out, so they have to proceed with caution.
See, they're moving across the open ground, now trying to catch up with Ivan and Silvercraft, which is a smart idea. Drew's dead in the water, he can't do much.
As coming around the other side of the mountain, Gnome and Sudibor are one team, followed behind Star Wraith and Mr. Gray. I would argue skill-wise, it's a toss-up, but I would argue organization-wise right now, Serpentis, that the attackers probably have better organization.
I'd argue that. They want to get the kill. They've had a really good fight, and now Vic's rejoined the fight. He stands in a... Never mind.
And Vic Viper now dead, and that might be enough to turn it again. We're running up against the time limit as the hold, I believe, was around 4 to 5 minutes, and we started the match at 69:00. It probably won't matter because the two teams would have to have an equal number of remaining assets, but if the defenders can tie it up? Is that a consideration burner to just haul ass and try and make it a tie instead of a loss?
I would ever try to get a decision and try to defeat my enemy. It's very hard to make an draw. I would always try to charge or to force an decision, because if you don't have a decision, then you can't your max in the next drop. So I mean, during this fight, all your assets from the drop were lost. So you can't just use them probably for the next campaign, but not for this one. So yeah, I would do it like they do. I would try to push and get the decision.
Well, in this case, as the attackers, would you only send in one asset to try and kill it, or would you send in everything you have? Is there ever a consideration to, if there's only one enemy left and for you, to only send one or two assets to try and protect something from getting destroyed to use in a later battle?
Depends on the assets, but yeah, I mean, at the moment we have there an only an Osiris Echo with a light gauss. It could kite and hurt them, but he could probably not destroy all of them. I don't know the damage output or the damage what they have. I would definitely let the most damaged asset far away, but yeah.
Now at
Would
this
you have-
time, it appears Silvercraft is the only asset left, Marius, for the defenders.
Ivan's still alive.
Okay.
But
So
you
they
also
are.
have to consider with this light Gauss series is most likely gonna run out of ammo any minute now. It doesn't
No.
bring a lot. Yeah, no.
Ivan is a respawn. Apologies. Ivan is a respawn. So
Yeah,
the
he
last
said.
one.
Okay. So we will wrap this battle up.
Oof,
We just do. We are
Silver's
now
gone down.
tied 1v1 in an interesting battle. Any closing thoughts before we move to map 3, gentlemen?
I look forward to leading the next one.
For Wolverine's Rebirth and Smoke Jaguar, this is Duelist. For Marius, Gnome King, who's playing, and Serpentis and Duelist, Burner, and everybody else. We'll see you next time on the Chaos March Network.